Hello, everybody. I believe we are live on YouTube, on Instagram, and Facebook. So I just want to make sure that that's all happening correctly. Checking the Facebook community, and then we'll get started on our live monthly cooking demo. If you haven't signed up for my email list, I sent out the recipes. We're going to be making a roasted chickpea harvest salad tonight. And then we're also going to be making pumpkin pie energy bites. I'll be posting those recipes on my website soon. But if you want to DM me on one of the platforms, I'm happy to go ahead and send you the recipes too. If you're on my email list, you would have gotten the recipes today. So I'm just checking. Great. I'm checking over here on YouTube, and I'm live on YouTube and the Facebook group. And I should be on Instagram too. Bear with me with all of this. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me on all the platforms. Okay, so this is my monthly cooking demo. And for those of you that may be new that are just finding me on one of the platforms, my name is Maggie. I'm a registered dietitian. I also have PCOS myself, and my specialty is helping individuals with PCOS or insulin resistance really feel confident in the kitchen and to reduce that overwhelm and stress around figuring out what to eat for PCOS, because it can be very overwhelming. You feel like you have to give up all your favorite foods. But my job is to really help you fall in love with food again, get you in the kitchen and get you experimenting with some foods that are actually going to help improve your PCOS. So my first recipe we're going to make tonight is the roasted chickpea harvest salad. Very excited about this one because it's basically like fall in a bowl. So that's what I'm calling it. We're going to start off by making some roasted chickpeas. You can always skip this step and just buy some in a bag, like pre-roasted if you wanted, but they're not hard. So I'm going to grab my ingredients. I guess I should tell you first what we're having. What do you need? So for the roasted chickpeas, we're going to use 1 can of chickpeas, and we're going to drain and rinse those. Rinsing the chickpeas removes a lot of the sodium. We're also going to be using some coriander, cumin, paprika, chili powder if you want, salt, pepper, and some olive oil. Let me come back over here. So I've got in a bowl, I'm going to mix up my chickpea mixture. We're going to get this in the oven to start roasting. And I actually made some ahead of time this week or this morning. And I'm just going to get rid of this one so it doesn't look that great. I'm happy about having extra because this is actually going to be a great travel snack. We're going on a trip this week, so this would be a great thing to bring on the plane. So in with the chickpeas, I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon of coriander, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and smoked paprika is one of my favorites, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to use like 1/4 teaspoon of that, and then a tablespoon of olive oil. That's going to help the spices stick to it, and that's going to help the chickpeas get nice and crunchy. We're going to season with some salt and pepper. And I want you to remember that herbs and spices also provide antioxidant compounds, and they can help reduce inflammation. So don't shy away from adding them to your cooking. It could be a really easy thing. You could, still cook familiar foods that you're used to, but add in these herbs and spices to help improve that antioxidant content. Okay, so I'm just mixing. So I want all the spices to be evenly distributed. And then I'm just going to grab a cookie sheet, and I'm going to put it on a parchment lined sheet pan, and I'm going to roast this for like 45 minutes until they're nice and crispy. I'm going to spread them out. You could also air fry this too if you wanted. So pop that in the oven at 400 for about 45 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. In the meantime, you're also going to grab the vegetables that we're going to add to this salad. So the veggie component is going to be sweet potato and Brussels sprouts. And you're going to chop up that sweet potato. You're going to chop up those Brussels sprouts and throw them in the oven while the chickpeas are roasting. So it's a little bit of prep work, This could honestly be done like on a Sunday or a different day of the week. If you're already in the kitchen cooking something else, just throw another sheet pan of those veggies underneath of the sweet potatoes and the Brussels sprouts, so you can have this ready to go and you can easily put together the salad. So I went ahead and roasted my chickpeas earlier today. You can hear how like crunchy they are. And then I also have some roasted sweet potato, and this was just one large sweet potato, about a pound. And all I did was put some Italian seasoning on it, salt and pepper and olive oil. And I roasted it on the same sheet pan as some Brussels sprouts. So again, cut in half, and salt, pepper, Italian seasonings, a little bit of olive oil. And I roasted them for maybe like 30 minutes for the Brussels sprouts and maybe 40 for the sweet potato. Okay, so let's go over the other components to the salad, just so you have an idea. For the rest of the salad, you'll need some olive oil to add to your veggies to roast. So the sweet potato, the Brussels sprouts, some thyme or Italian seasoning. You're also going to need some kale. That's going to be the base of our salad. Kale is also great for meal prep. So if you make this ahead of time, this will get like soggy and gross. And my daughter just turned the volume up like really loud on the TV. So that's what happens. You're also going to need apples. So 2 cups of apples chopped, and then nuts. So 2/3 of a cup of nuts. So if you want to do pecans, or I'm going to use pistachios, you could use walnuts, almonds, whatever you prefer. And then for the dressing, we're going to need some lemon juice, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, maple syrup, Dijon mustard, and salt and pepper. So I'll show you how to make all that. So now that you basically let's say you have your sweet potatoes and your Brussels sprouts roasted, we're going to go ahead and put together the salad. Move it down so you guys can see. So in here, I have maybe like half a bunch of kale. And I buy it like this in a bunch. You can buy it in a bag already chopped up. That's totally fine. But at my store, it was $2 for all of this kale compared to like $4.99 for a bag. So I just wanted to economize. So just as an idea. So if it looks pretty expensive and you're like, what am I going to use that for? Just try buying it. So all you have to do is rip it up. And prepping the kale is really easy. I wanted to show you guys how to do that. So all I do is if this looks intimidating to you, all you're going to do is you're just going to hold the stem and then rip the leaves off of it. It comes off super easy. That's it. Then throw it into your colander and give it a good rinse, because it does get a little gritty and dirty. There could be little bugs on it, and that's what happens. And then you could use your hands to rip it into smaller pieces, or you could chop it if you want. And I'm just going to use some paper towels to kind of take some of the liquid off. If you have a salad spinner, this would be great to have, but I don't. It's totally fine. Okay, so we're going to, actually, we're going to make that dressing real quick. That's the first step. If you haven't made a homemade dressing or vinaigrette, even if the rest of the salad seems intimidating, I urge you to try making a homemade vinaigrette. It sounds fancy, but it's so easy. It's so delicious, and you can use it on everything. This is a live video, so now my dog's barking. You can use it on everything. So even if you just roast veggies, you can add some vinaigrette to it, and it's going to be delicious. So I'm going to gather my ingredients here. My maple syrup, my Dijon, my lemon. I'm going to point you guys down so you can see. So the first thing is I'm having 2 acids in my vinaigrette. You're always going to have an oil and an acid. So I'm going to have some lemon juice, and then I'm going to be using some apple cider vinegar, or you could use balsamic, red wine vinegar, whatever you like. All right. There's no medicine coming. Oh, we're having guests at the front door. So I'm just going to juice this lemon into my jar. And to build a vinaigrette, I like making them in like an old jam jar or a mason jar, anything like that. And then I could just shake it up. You could also store it in here for the week too. If you just want to prep up this for the beginning of the week and roast those veggies. And then on a Tuesday night, you can just assemble everything. So I am just going to grab those lemon seeds out of here. Okay. I'm sorry, someone's at the front door. Okay. So to here, we have that lemon juice. We're going to add in some extra virgin olive oil. The extra virgin olive oil is a really healthy monounsaturated fat that helps reduce inflammation. And that's why I love making my own dressings, because I have control around what I'm putting into the salad dressing, what kind of oils I'm using. To this, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Then I'm also going to be adding in some flavoring agents. So I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. And then 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. And of course, we're going to add in some salt and pepper as well. And it's that easy. And then we're just going to shake. Just going to check over here. Make sure you can still see me. And again, you could use this dressing on anything for fall related. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up real quick, make space, because now we're just going to compose the salad. I'm going to take a really large bowl, about some of that liquid, and I'm going to put down about 5 cups of kale. To the salad, so we have our base of greens that's providing some vitamin A, antioxidants, and kale is also a cruciferous vegetable. And cruciferous vegetables help your liver detoxify excess hormones. So it's a great thing to try to get in multiple sources of cruciferous vegetables each week. Now we're going to add in some complex carbohydrates, because we want our salads not to be boring. We want them to be delicious and give us energy and not make us feel like, oh, I could still eat something else after we have it. So I'm going to add in my roasted sweet potato on top. What I love about this salad is also all the colors that you're going to have. Then we're going to add in another cruciferous vegetable, some roasted Brussels sprouts. Then we're going to add in some sweetness with some chopped apple. You could do pears too. That would be delicious. I left the skin on my apple to provide more antioxidants, more nutrients, and yeah, they're just delicious. So this is 2 apples. It looks like a lot, so I'm not sure if I'm going to put all of it in there. Apples are also super high in fiber and a great source of soluble fiber. So that helps control blood sugar levels. And I think having a little bit of sweetness can really help balance the bitterness from the Brussels sprouts or the kale. This would be a really beautiful salad to take to Thanksgiving, as I'm just thinking about that right now. I would probably even add in some like dried cherries. That would be amazing. And probably I would add some feta. As I'm thinking about that, there's things I would add to this. Now we're going to add in a layer of healthy fats. So we have complex carbs, we have fiber. We're going to layer in some healthy fats and protein. So I'm going to use some pistachios. You could use pecans as the recipe is written. Then we're just going to add in that dressing. You could also add like a rotisserie chicken if you wanted to bump up that protein, or grilled steak or something. That would be delicious. And that's it. And of course, I think I would add feta if I brought this for when I serve it. I might do that. But you could make it either way. If you wanted to keep it vegan, you can keep it the way it is. But isn't that like so beautiful? This would last in the refrigerator for the week. So you could prep this into individual containers if you wanted. So you have a really easy meal prep because the kale won't get too soggy. Or you could keep prep it, layer everything, and then just keep the dressing on the side in a small container if you wanted. So that is the harvest salad. Let me get the nutrition on that. This salad, as written, it has 19 grams of fiber, which is incredible. If you're looking to, if you're wondering how much fiber should I actually have, I generally recommend for my patients to have for women that are with it under 50, probably about 30, 35 grams of fiber. Men need more. That's the 30, 35 grams of fiber ensures you get a lot of fruits and veggies and whole grains and nuts and seeds, beans and legumes. And that could really help improve blood sugar levels and also gives your gut all the fiber it needs to ferment and digest and help reduce that inflammation in the body. So this salad will definitely help you get there. It's more than half of your day's worth of fiber in here. So now we're going to make the pumpkin pie energy bites. So let me just make some space. All right, so for this recipe, I'm going to use my food processor. I think I might be able to adjust the volume at one point so you guys don't hear it. But this is super quick. I tried to think of a way to create it without using the food processor, but you do have to blend up some dates, so it's a little hard to do that without that. I'm going to go over the ingredients. So we're going to need a 1/4 cup of medjool dates, pitted, some boiling water. We're going to be softening the dates in boiling water. You're also going to need some almond butter, some pumpkin puree, or you can use peanut butter like I'm using, some pumpkin pie spice, a little bit of salt. We have the dates, pistachios, coconut flour. I'm going to use oat flour. That's really fine. And then there's a couple of things that you can do. We're going to use oats, of course, as the base. And then to get fancy and decorate it, I'm going to be taking the easy way out, and I'm going to be adding my chocolate chips to the energy bite. But what you could do is if you wanted to melt your chocolate chips over a double boiler and add a little bit of coconut oil, you could then drizzle with chocolate over the energy bites, and that would be beautiful. But I'm going to take the lazy way out of it. You could also be adding protein powder to these or collagen powder if you would like as well. I'm not going to because I'm going to be taking this on a trip and my daughter will be eating them. And I know that she won't eat it if I put protein powder in it. So you guys do whatever you like. So we have a food processor here to help us puree. And I'm also going to give you another warning. My food processor, the lid broke the other day. So I have to use a utensil to kind of push it down. So hopefully it does work. But the first step in making these is we're going to be softening the dates. If you've never tried dates before, they're super sweet and delicious. They're super high in fiber. So they're a great way to sweeten snacks and desserts and things like that. Yours should be nice and soft when you buy them. The fresh dates, they're dried. You want to take off this little stem it has right here. You guys can see that. And you want to peel it open and take out the seed inside. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put this into a bowl and you're going to pour some boiling water over top of it. That's going to let it sit for 10 minutes. That's going to soften the dates so you can easily puree it. So I've done that ahead of time. It doesn't look that appealing, so I don't know if I want to show you guys. But this is going to help make it so it's easy to puree. So I'm just going to put them into the food processor. I'm going to keep that liquid in case I need to add a little bit of liquid. Here. We'll build everything right here and I'll put it on my food processor. Okay. So now we're going to just add all the ingredients except for that chocolate into the food processor. So I'm going to add in my nut butter, so a 1/4 cup. Again, I'm just using peanut butter because I'm allergic to almonds. Cashew butter would also be really good in this. Sunflower seed butter, a 1/4 cup of canned pumpkin. And you want to make sure it's just pure pumpkin and not pumpkin pie filling. That has added sugar into it, and we just want that pure pumpkin. Canned pumpkin is actually super nutritious, and it's full of vitamin A. And because it's roasted and concentrated down, it's very high in vitamin A. So the rest of this you could add to a smoothie. You could freeze it in a little baggie. You could add it to, the other day I added it to pasta sauce. I added some chicken broth to this and created like a pumpkin sauce. Yeah, you could use it for anything. Muffins, pancakes this weekend, whatever you like. Let's point it down so you guys can see. So now we're going to sweeten it with just a little bit of maple syrup. The dates are providing a good amount of sweetness, but I'm going to add a little bit of maple because I enjoy that flavor. Then we're going to add in your pumpkin pie spice. This is a mixture of cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and these all have great anti-inflammatory compounds. So it's about 1.5 teaspoons pumpkin pie spice. Cinnamon is also a really great spice to include, but it's actually not recently, it's been going on for a long time, but research is showing that it can help improve blood sugar levels. You have to consume a lot of cinnamon in order to do that. It's about 3/4 teaspoon, I think I read. So that's a lot, but whenever you could add cinnamon in, I think it's a great idea. You could also take cinnamon caps if you really wanted to. I just like to show you like all these foods. This is going to be delicious, but also so good for your PCOS, for reducing inflammation, for improving fertility, for improving insulin sensitivity. And then we have most of our ingredients. We're going to add a pinch of salt. That's going to help everything just taste a little sweeter. Next, we're adding in 1.5 cups of oats. And I'm just going to mix that a little bit. And I'm going to put this on the food processor, and hopefully it purees for us. Okay. If I need to add a little bit of liquid, I might. I'm going to turn off so you guys don't hear the blender or the food processor. Okay, so it's working. I'm very happy. I am just going to scrape it down because it's a little sticky. I'm going to add in a little bit of that liquid because it looks like mine is very thick. And that's just the liquid that I used, the date water, I'm going to call it. It's the water that I soaked the dates in. All right, so I'm just going to stir it around. My food processor is not working. It's not working that well, just because the lid's not really attaching really well. So I'm going to give it one more try, and then I'll just move on, and we will just have pieces of date inside our energy bites, which I don't think would be a bad thing. Perfect. So to this, because I'm going to take that lazy way out and I'm not going to use a double boiler, more dishes, which you could totally melt your chocolate and then drizzle it on top and it's beautiful. I'm just going to stir this chocolate chips into the energy bites. You could also add in your protein powder at this point and kind of pulse it a few more times. The chocolate chips I'm using are a dark chocolate chip. So I'm going to get more antioxidants in this one, but use what you really enjoy. So it's very thick, like a cookie batter. At this point, you could give it a little taste and see if you need to add some more sweetener. And don't be afraid if you need to add a little bit more maple syrup in there. Maybe it needs more cinnamon. We want to make sure that everything tastes good so you want to eat it. And that is one of the most important parts when you're cooking for yourself to help you improve your PCOS. You're adding so many nutrient-dense foods in with the pumpkin and the oats. Maybe you need a little bit of sweetness to help you get that in. That's totally fine. I was just thinking, I think ground flaxseed would also be delicious in this. But we'll just keep it this way. So I'm just going to give it a taste to see if I need to add more sweetener. No, it's really good. Okay, so now we're just going to roll these into bite-sized pieces. One of my tricks for doing this is I'm going to get my hands wet with water, and then that way the energy bites do not stick to my hands. And I'm just going to make like one or two. I'm not going to make you guys like watch like me making all these energy bites. You can make them whatever size you want. I usually think around a golf ball is like a good size. And generally I find one to be like a nice, like light snack to kind of like hold me over. If I'm like, oh man, it's 5 o'clock and I'm really hungry and I haven't made dinner yet. Maybe two if it's more of like a 3 o'clock snack and I've got a few hours. But play around with it. Maybe you need more. Maybe you need less. Just evaluate your hunger. But this is a great snack because you're getting in complex carbs that are going to help stabilize your energy. It's going to give you some energy, but all that fiber is going to help the blood sugar stay a lot more level. And then if you add the protein powder in, it's even better. But these have the nut butter in it too, so don't forget that. So yeah, super easy to make. You can put them in the refrigerator or you can even freeze them. I'll probably put them in the refrigerator, harden up, and then I usually keep a couple on my counter, and then I also keep the rest in my fridge. When I'm going out on like a Saturday, if I actually leave my house, I'll put them in a little baggie, keep them in my purse. So I have something sweet and delicious just like at my fingertips. So I'm less likely and less tempted to grab something when I'm out and about. So that's it. I wanted to show you these pumpkin pie energy bites. They're so delicious. And then, of course, this harvest fall salad with the kale, the roasted sweet potatoes, the roasted Brussels sprouts, apples. I did pistachios, the maple Dijon vinaigrette, and I think feta or goat cheese would be outstanding in this. So I hope you guys like these recipes. I hope you give them a try this fall and you enjoy them and you realize that you can eat really delicious foods when you're trying to improve your PCOS and your symptoms. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, the PCOS Cooking School. And yeah, I will see you guys next month with another cooking demo. And if you need more help week to week, I do have a membership called the PCOS Meal Prep Membership, where we get in the kitchen once a week and I prep along with you. So that I prep along with you, answer questions, provide inspirations, and you get weekly meal plans and support to help you reach your goals. So have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys soon.